Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news show on the channel. Sorry for the delay, my Wi-Fi has been absolutely terrible today, but today's video is a bit of a transfer news update. Rumours that United could go in for a midfielder with injuries to Donny van der Beek and more. However, we know that a sale would have to happen first. There's even reports coming out from decent journalists that Elanga going out on loan could leave up some room for United to make one more small January signing. Fabrizio Romano was coming out and giving a fantastic update today, people, regarding Victor Osimhen, Jurriën Timber and more. And he also confirmed the news that, believe it or not, Borussia Dortmund are interested in Anthony Elanga. But the other thing about Fabrizio Romano is he's also confirmed news going in and around the club about our plans for Rashford, De Gea, Fred and more. So I do want to get into the news, but there's also a lot of midfield speculation as well, with Tielemans and Mohamed Kudus being eyed up by United. Potentially United could get Youri Tielemans on a cut price in January, because of obviously the situation going on with the Leicester contract. But reportedly Ten Hag wants Kudus because he's more attacking based, and there are reports going on that Ten Hag is pushing for United to sign Mohamed Kudus when Elanga goes out on loan. However, as we know from reliable journalists, if United are to bring in another signing in January, which is possible, someone would need to be sold to make way. Now, there is a lot of interest in McTominay from a few teams going in and around in England, so maybe you sell McTominay, but I don't think we have the midfield depth to sell McTominay. There's interest in Maguire, but Ten Hag didn't even let Lindelof go, and I think he prefers Maguire to Lindelof. I don't know if Maguire's last choice centre-back, so it depends if Ten Hag's willing to have a sell. But I want to get into some of the Osimhen news, I want to get into some of the Elanga news, and then I want to get into the transfer news regarding midfielders and more. But guys, please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks if you're new. Am I tired? I've been up very early today and I had a little nap and I feel like it's showing. And Interested SC is back. We will talk new ownership. We will talk a little bit about Dubai and some American investments. The Times had a mini update on new ownership that came out yesterday, I think. So we will get into that story as well. And perhaps Man United to get one more player till Feb. Hopefully Manchester United do get one more player, but I do think someone will have to go. But it was said Newcastle United will make a bid for Scott McTominay if offered any encouragement for United. And could United swap McTominay out for Tielemans, Kudus, the midfielders they're looking for as well? And Tottenham are suffering from lack of funds. Their debts are staggering after building that stadium, says Alex B. They are as well. And I tell you, talking to stadiums, Man United have plans for a new stadium, people. I don't know if you watched that video, but we actually have new stadium plans up. And once we get new owners, we will go ahead with that. Now, I want to talk about a little bit of the transfer news making the rounds. I want to talk about sort of the main headline going around and all of that. And I want to say this. I don't think we're going to sign a midfielder. I'm not saying we're going to sign a midfielder. I think Ten Hag would like to sign a midfielder. I think Ten Hag would like someone to maybe go in Bruno's role with Donny van der Beek out injured, but I know there's a few signings that Ten Hag would want. And what I do know, and Ten Hag's made this clear, is Ten Hag wants someone else in January. He wants a bit more than Weghorst. He wants someone ideally in that midfield, attacking midfield or attacking role to come in. He knows that we're low on depth. Ten Hag wants a player to come in January, and he is pushing for that. But he knows, I think, for that to happen, someone's got to go. Now, I've said this now. United should look at getting a cheap midfielder. Whether it's I don't think Tielemans is the right fit. Actually, I will talk about the Tielemans to United news in a second. I'm not 100% sure Tielemans is the right fit for United, but I've been saying for a long time, with Donny out to the rest of the season, with us playing a game every 3 days, with Eriksen only being able to play once a week max, because what I noticed of Eriksen is once he plays a lot, he drops off. If you rest him and play him once a week, he plays really well. Although Fred and Casemiro have been absolutely fantastic, they cannot play every week. Casemiro got a knock in the Manchester derby. You've got to take that into account. So although I love, our midfielders, we need someone else to go in midfield because, McTominay was struggling against the League One Charlton side. You don't know what you're going to get with McTominay. Now, I trust McTominay to do a job, and I don't mind McTominay coming off the bench here and there and, playing as a bit of a rotation for Everton here and there. But he's not Casemiro. The drop-off from Casemiro is incredible. And for me, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I don't think United should be going for another attacker in January, even though the talk is more United to go for an attacker if Elanga goes out on loan. I think United should be going for a midfielder in January, but I just don't know if there's any cheap midfield deals we can do. Like, you know how there was Sakaria, very obviously available last January. I'd have liked us to have gone for, what's he called, Lema. I think he would have been available in January on the cheap before he's gone to Bayern. Maybe you look at someone like Gravenberch, who's obviously gone from Ajax to Bayern. It's not working out, and Bayern have just signed another midfielder. Could United just get him on the cheap? He's an Erik ten Hag kind of player. I do think United should be seeing, is there any cheap midfield deals they can do? Or potentially, is there just any cheap midfield loan deals they could do? Can anyone think in the chat, like, of possible cheap midfield loan deals? Because I just can't think of anyone off the top of my head as well. Keely says, Tielemans to McTominay sounds pretty good to me, but what's the point of this? With the Glazers in charge, we ain't signing no one. I agree with that as well. And will Casemiro be rested against Palace to make sure he's not suspended for Arsenal? I'm not sure. Because I think, you want Casemiro every game because he makes such a difference to the way we play. And I think, if you're going to play McTominay, you'd potentially play McTominay in a game versus Reading. But it's a difficult one because Casemiro also got a bit of a knock in the Manchester derby. So I think we could maybe take a risk and rest Casemiro. But Palace have a midfield that's going to be difficult to break down. And I do worry, can we break down that Palace midfield as well? And McTominay's better as a box-to-box midfielder, not a DM. And this is spot on. The one thing as well is I actually think if we do sign a midfielder, do we get a DM? Because I think if McTominay plays box-to-box next to Casemiro, he plays a lot better than when he plays in Casemiro's position, because the difference between Casemiro and McTominay is just absolutely outstanding. And Abdullah says, Man United should sign me and 15 left winger and Libyan. I mean, to be fair, you might do a better job than Elanga at the moment. And Alex says, with Van der Beek out for the rest of the season, we surely must go and get a midfielder in and add some squad depth. Tielemans would be ideal, but I would have to take a loan deal for someone. I think it will be a loan deal. Now, I do want to get into this report on Mohamed Kudus, United going for Mohamed Kudus in just a second as well. And I think the worry is what if Martial's injuries continue and what's the left of Weghorst, and that's true as well. I think there's the worry, I think that we need like a DM. We could potentially try and loan Gravenberch in the midfield. I think that United should try because that's not paying off at Bayern, and he was very good at Ajax, and I thought he's a very talented midfielder, and maybe Bayern would like him to get some minutes still because he's young and be under Erik ten Hag in a better league. I'm not sure. I think that United should really go out and see if they could get maybe someone like Gravenberch on loan. But I have to say, Erik ten Hag wants Kudus. Erik ten Hag's very keen on Mohamed Kudus. Now, we know he was fantastic in the World Cup. We know that he'd be quoted at around £40 million. The question is, how do United get £40 million? There were reports they could get £30 million from Newcastle for Scott McTominay, and they could probably make way and sign Kudus, but Kudus is more of an attacking mid-centre forward, someone that can play across the front three in Bruno's role rather than the McTominay replacement. But Erik ten Hag, and as Alex B mentioned with Martial's injuries, he wants someone else in there that could go in the attack. He really wanted João Felix because he knew if he signed João Felix, he could cover Bruno's role, he knew he could cover Martial's role, and he knew if worse came to worse, he could play João Felix of all the boys and stick him on the wing. Erik ten Hag was absolutely desperate for João Felix, but unfortunately the board didn't deliver Erik ten Hag João Felix or what he wanted. So Erik ten Hag's now turning attention to Kudus, which I think would make a really good signing. Now, I do want to talk about Mohamed Kudus because Fabrizio Romano says, as of now, there's no negotiations ongoing with United and Kudus, but United are interested in Mohamed Kudus. And I do want to get into what Fabrizio Romano has said on Victor Osimhen. But what was said about Kudus is, well, it's a report from The Athletic last month complained that Manchester United manager ten Hag is obviously interested in Kudus. And now we've agreed a deal for Weghorst. A move for Kudus is less likely to occur, but United are really looking at the 22-year-old. It's also been reported that he has 2.5 years left on his contract. He will be £40 million. Ten Hag still wants additions in the squad, and that United are likely to maybe test the waters with Kudus, but because of the price tag, because of Weghorst, it is more likely to happen in the summer. I want to dive into some transfer news, people. I want to get your opinion on some of the transfer news coming in. So we've got loads to get through today. I'm talking, we've got new ownership news. We've got news on that. Isco would be ideal. Isco free agent as Bruno backup, people. What do you think? I've not watched Isco in a while. I know he dropped off. I don't know what he's been like as well. And Alex B says Kudus pacey baller, but that's not happening now anyway. And I agree. I think that ten Hag would love Kudus, but I don't think that we will be signing anyone who costs a significant amount of money in January. I think if we sign anyone in January, it's a midfield loan potentially as well. And Ten Hag said he only wants to buy players with quality, which would be over 40 million. But I do think Ten Hag would wait till summer. I think summer's when we spend the money. I think this is loans. And I do think United should be smart to look at midfield loans. I know that, Tielemans is available on a cheap deal as well. I think we could potentially look at Tielemans as well. But I think we should look at Gravenberch on loan. I don't think he's really going well for him at Ajax as well. Also, do you know what I was thinking? What happened to Spence who went to Tottenham? Because he's getting benched for Emerson Royale. I know this is really off topic. Is he just gone? Is he just gone from Spurs or something? Anyone actually know? I was wondering about him. Because he would look really good, and then he just kind of disappeared. But enough of my waffling, people. Let's dive into some stories. Let's dive into some news. Then we'll talk about Ten Hag. Also, David Moyes did an interview today, actually. And in that interview, David Moyes basically spoke about, just how awful United treated him, which, what a surprise. What a surprise. He found out via the media, not via the club, because Ed Woodward was too much of a lazy prick to meet him, that he got sacked. And I did think, David Moyes should have been sacked. David Moyes isn't doing the greatest job at West Ham at the moment, but David Moyes was incredibly badly mistreated. Now, talking of overtreating, Ollie overtreated McTominay. And I want to get into some news on McTominay. It seems that McTominay himself wants to be a regular start for United, and he ain't going to get anywhere near the squad with Casemiro in there. He ain't getting anywhere near the squad with Casemiro in there. And it was said that Newcastle United have expressed an interest in Scott McTominay, and the player is worried about his lack of game time under Ten Hag, and McTominay is open to the move. So McTominay is reportedly open to leaving Manchester United. Now, I don't think Ten Hag's going to let this happen because we're thinner in midfield than we are in defence. And although Ten Hag is looking at Tielemans, looking at Kudus, and all of these options, and to be fair, we could get probably more money from McTominay and then get Tielemans for the McTominay money. Don't think Ten Hag wants to take the risk in losing any midfielders in January. So I would keep an eye on this one. But I do think McTominay and Maguire, two names that could go in the summer under Ten Hag, because they're two players that want a lot of game time, and Fred's coming off the bench all the time, and Fred's getting game time, but McTominay is that last choice. He is that, I think Ten Hag sussed out that McTominay is a hard-working Scottish lad. He's going to give it his all. He's got the right mindset. He's got the right mentality, but I don't think he's going to be United level. I think if he wants a career at United, he will always be that second-choice midfielder that will rely on to put on a good tackle. Now, I think Eric Ten Hag will probably come to that conclusion. I think McTominay, being in the prime years of his career, McTominay obviously backs himself. I think he's very, very good. He would want to go to Newcastle. And McTominay open to Newcastle, and Elanga open for a loan move. I think there are a few players at United that do want to leave that are open for game time. It just depends if Eric Ten Hag will let them leave. And I think, again, McTominay is something and someone that could potentially leave United in January. I think we do need him for the depth as well. Moyes on the verge of the sack at West Ham because he continues to pick favourites regardless of form, doing what Ten Hag does not do. 100%, 100%. I know this is a little off topic, but my favourite thing about Eric Ten Hag, and I think we can all agree on this, is that I doesn't feel like there's any favouritism under Eric Ten Hag. I don't feel like Eric Ten Hag has got a clear favourite. I don't feel like there's any bias. Eric Ten Hag, after 2 games, he dropped Maguire. He dropped McFred. And then Fred's playing well, so Fred's getting a bit more back into the team. McTominay had a few good games, and he kept Casemiro out of the team. And as soon as McTominay slipped up, Casemiro's been undroppable. Anthony's most expensive signing, he dropped in the Manchester derby. Lisandro Martinez, because he's a bit rusty at the World Cup, he's dropped. Luke Shaw's playing centre-back. Wan-Bissaka's playing well at the moment. What I love about Ten Hag is actually, if a player plays well and has a chance and they take it, he's going to give it to them. And that's what I love about him. Garnacho had a little chance, he took it and he got it. There's no favouritism. There's no, it's going to be the same starting 11 every week with Ten Hag. Well, it is mostly the same starting 11 because it's our strongest starting 11. But, when Maguire was poor, Ten Hag dropped him. He said, look, you're Harry Maguire, you're captain. But if we're a better team with Varane and Martinez starting, we're a better team with Varane and Martinez starting because Varane and Martinez have been incredible. Martinez isn't 100% fit. He's playing Luke Shaw over Harry Maguire centre-back. McTominay cannot even get in the team. Fred's been absolutely brilliant in the way he's responded. Fred was awful at the beginning of the season, that game versus Brentford, and he's redeemed himself. And what I love about Ten Hag is Ronaldo's been dropped, Maguire's been dropped, Fred's been dropped. All these players that would never be dropped under Ollie, Ronaldo's dropped. Every player, if they've been poor, dropped. And even Rashford, because he misbehaves, he gets dropped. Ten Hag's very much like, Everyone has to act the same. Everyone is disciplined the same. If you misbehave, you drop regardless of form. If you're not professional, you drop regardless of form. But Ten Hag isn't like Moyes. He's not going to pick the same underperforming players. If we lose, he makes changes. We lost to Man City 6-3 in the last derby. He made a lot of changes from that game. When we lose, he makes changes, and you know what? That's what makes a good manager. It annoyed me every week that Ollie picked the same team, Moisey picking the same team. And then, what I like about, if Eric Ten Hag even said this, if you watch my video earlier, you'll see this. Eric Ten Hag literally said, if you want to build characters, if you want a dressing room with characters and all of that, then you have to drop players. If you're picking the same players, it ruins the dressing room because other players will get annoyed because they'll think there's favoritism. They'll question why you're picking the same players that are playing bad. Eric Ten Hag's made it very clear. You've got to pick a variety of players. If you pick the same underperforming players, you even lose the dressing room as well. Scott and Fred confuse me sometimes. They may be shit. They may be good. This is the thing about Scott and Fred, and I think we can all agree on this. Scott and Fred together, no. Look, Fred together, no. Scott and Fred on their own, next to a good DM, can do a job. Especially Fred. Fred and Casemiro can do a job. Casemiro and McTominay, I'm sure, can do a job. Scott and Fred, no. Fred, I tell you this now, if they play on their own, they're okay. If it's just one of Fred and Scott on the pitch and they have someone good next to them, that is fine. When they're both on the pitch, it's bad unless you're playing Leeds United because they have a thing where they are just absolutely really good versus Leeds United as well. Solskjaer, Moyes, only average manager. I think Ten Hag is world class. I think, Ten Hag is a top manager. I think we can all establish very early on at United and, that Ten Hag is a top manager. What he's doing with the squad, the discipline he's instilled in the squad, what he's won at Ajax. I think, everyone, what he's done in the Champions League. I think we can all establish that Ten Hag is a good manager as well. As Alex B says, he selects on merit, and it's been a long time since we've done that at United. We haven't done that at United since Sir Alex Ferguson. And now he's selecting on merit the bad players that were never good enough for United, like Maguire and McTominay. Like, I like Maguire and I like McTominay, but you're not going to win a Premier League title if McTominay and Maguire are starting every week for Manchester United, are you? They'll give it their all. They've got the right mentality. Scott McTominay fights. He's had some good games. Maguire isn't as bad as people make out. We do need to cut Maguire some slack, but they're not two names that if they start every week, United are going to win a title. Not at all. They're good lads. They work hard. But you know what? We want to be a team that wins titles. And these are good lads that work hard and they can be our bench options, but they're not going to be a regular starter. And because of that, these players that, were untouchable under Ollie that weren't good enough might now be on the verge of leaving United. They're now all starting to look at moves because Ten Hag is like, you know what? I'm going to play people that deserve to play. And Ten Hag's planning for a ruthless summer. Ten Hag's planning on, getting rid of a lot of players in summer. Ten Hag has a ruthless summer plan. We're talking like 5-6 players could go. We're talking like Maguire, McTominay, I think would go in summer, not January. Potentially even Wan-Bissaka, who's been playing absolutely fantastic at the moment. And then he wants to bring in, obviously, people like Osimhen. He wants to bring in Timber. He wants to bring in a lot of players. Like Ten Hag is brutal. Tielemans can cover Casemiro. Not the same kind of player. Tielemans is much more advanced. To be fair, he's more Donny Eriksson kind of position as well. And I totally agree with you, Alice. McTominay being picked over Casemiro, definitely not. He's hardworking, but not the same class. I mean, like, no one's the same class, brackets, Casemiro. Have you seen it, actually? Real Madrid fans. Oh, my God. Let me show you this. Real Madrid fans crying on Twitter. Look at this. This Real Madrid saying, Casemiro was the glue. Man, since he's gone, our defensive structure is fucked up. Absolutely shambolic yet again. It's the same since the start of the season. This is a Madrid fan. As you can see, champions of Europe. I'm sorry. Thank you for Casemiro. Thank you. I think I commented here. Thank you for Casemiro. Oh, I've got a reply. There we go. You are welcome. Very happy with that. I mean, like, Real Madrid have dropped off. Like, this guy is incredible. Like, it doesn't matter how, if McTominay picks up some form and plays fantastic, he will never be Casemiro. And my biggest fear with Casemiro is how we replace him. I did try and wind up some fans on Twitter, actually. I did say Casemiro's upgraded. I said, look, Real Madrid losing 3-1 to their rivals. United beating their rivals. I did try and do a little bit of banter and pretend that Casemiro had upgraded. But on a serious note, like, I'm scared of Casemiro. Do you know I'm scared of Casemiro? I'm scared of how we replace him. Like, generally, this guy could be one of the best ever midfielders to play for United. Okay, and like, he's been here 6 months. like we've had Paul Scholes, who's the best player I've ever seen play in the Premier League in my lifetime in terms of just generally Paul Scholes, best Premier League player I watched play. Like there was something about him that was incredible. You know, and I obviously I didn't watch Roy Keane really play or have much memory of it, but we've had Paul Scholes, we've had Roy Keane, and Casemiro is in that bracket of level. You know, if you look at what he's done at Real Madrid and you look at what he's done so far this season at United, he is in like that level bracket of like this guy is like a one top player. And that my big fear actually long term with them is how would hell will United replace Casemiro? Like how? Like I can't even think. Like Tielemans, but he's at Real Madrid. He's their Casemiro replacement. It's actually incredible how big he is as well. Vic with the Rashford offside. You know what, Vic? It was. I will give Man City that it was a soft call, but you know what? Man United have been so mugged off of VAR in the past, so unlucky with so many handball decisions this season and the end of last season that I think we deserved a bit of luck. And for it to happen in the Manchester derby, even though Rashford did obstruct Ederson's positioning, I fucking love it. I fucking love that came. And I do think now looking back at it, that yeah, City are a little bit unlucky as well. And I just realised that Arsenal could win their first UCL before us. That would be tragic. That would be quite funny, to be fair, as well. And Casemiro definitely having the Cantona effect. 100%. He just completely changed that midfield. Like Eric Ten Hag was brilliant, but I mean, you couldn't do it without Casemiro as well. And I'd say Casemiro is the best player we've had since post Sir Alex. Yeah, in terms of actually quality, the best player in terms of quality we brought in post Sir Alex. I think Bruno's been one of the best as well, but there's just a quality in there as well. Please stop saying Osimhen. That's not his name. Osimhen. Is it Osimhen? Is it? Because people on the internet saying Victor Osimhen, and then some people are saying Osimhen, and then some people are saying Osimhen. Like everyone says it freaking wrong as well. So you know, if someone wants to tell me in the chat how you specifically say it, you can down below as well. But yeah, Casemiro, absolute freaking beast. Now, let's dive into the transfer news because we'll talk about Osimhen now because Fabrizio Romano has spoken about it, and now I'm confused of how I say his name. Because I've seen his name be said about 5 different ways, but I want to get into what Romano has said on the Star. He said that Manchester United are interested in Victor Osimhen for a long time now, and it won't be a shock if they try it and go for him in the summer, but it will probably be a bidding war with a lot of clubs interested. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed there is an interest in Osimhen. He wouldn't be shocked if United went for him in the summer, but because of how good he is, there could be a bidding war. We know PSG are also interested in him. I don't think many top Premier League sides need a striker. Arsenal, maybe they'll go for a striker, but they seem quite happy with Jesus. Liverpool have just signed Darwin Núñez and Gakpo and need to sort out their midfielder. City have Haaland. You know, Chelsea need a striker, but they might not get top 4, and we might as well get top 4. You don't know. You know, I think for me it will be United, PSG, Chelsea, potentially Bayern. I think, you know, there will be competition for Osimhen. I mean, what he's doing at Napoli, guys, is incredible. Like I have to say this now, this striker, if we got him at United, my God, like he would be freaking incredible. What he's been doing at Napoli is unreal. Like not just goal scoring, his movement, his play. And I don't watch much of the Serie A, but whenever I've watched Napoli, I mean, I've been blown away. Like Napoli, best team to watch outside the Premier League at the moment. The football they play, absolutely fantastic. And Victor Osimhen, for him at United, I would absolutely love it. I would absolutely love it. Is it Osimhen? Is it Osimhen? Osimhen? Because I'm so confused if it's Osimhen or Osimhen because people send it every way as well. Osimhen, but he has been absolutely fantastic at Manchester United, at Napoli. Sorry. I would be blown away if we could get it as well. Guys, please do smash that like button if you have not already. And of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new as well. We will talk about other things. We will talk about potentially Gravenberch on loan to United. I think could be a smart move. But it was said here, Napoli don't even want to discuss a price for Victor Osimhen. Their full focus is on winning the league and will not be drawn into any distractions. No way this would happen in January. I think we all knew that. Romano is saying, you know, this is a player United are looking at. This is a player a lot of clubs are looking at. But if something's going to happen, something's going to happen in the summer, which would make sense 100%. Also, Anthony Taylor is going to be referee for Man U versus Arsenal. And I swear this referee freaking hates us. This is the ref that actually fucked up the Wall versus Aston Villa, so they scored. This is the ref that absolutely hates United. So brilliant as well. And it was also said that Newcastle will make a bid for McTominay if they receive any encouragement. And McTominay interested in potentially a Newcastle move if you've just joined the live stream, people. as well. But we've got a few other transfer stories to get in. I want to talk about a bit more and about a player that we were linked with all summer that Erik ten Hag is reportedly going to go back in for, and that is Jurrien Timber, people. And the good thing about Jurrien Timber is he can offer right back cover and centre back cover. And we know that Maguire is very likely to leave in the summer. We know one of Maguire or Lindelof will most definitely leave the summer due to their lack of game time. And one of the options United are looking at is Jurrien Timber. And Erik ten Hag is in love with the player. I think him and Kim Min-jae are kind of the summer targets, are kind of the summer options making the rounds at United. And it's been made quite clear that Erik ten Hag is planning a big summer clear out at Manchester United, and he wants a big summer transfer window. Now, we don't obviously know what's going on with new ownership and all of that, but what we do know, and what I do want to discuss regarding new ownership that's quite important, is that basically there's a deadline on the next ownership at Manchester United, and that deadline has been set for mid-February. Anyone interested in Manchester United, partial sale, full sale, must put in their bid, their offer for Manchester United by mid-February, so that Manchester United can get the sale done by April, so they can plan for the summer. Now, what we know from Romano, what we know from United's big plan in the summer is Ten Hag wants to get rid of a lot of players and bring a lot of players in. I think players like Maguire will be out the door in the summer. McTominay will be out the door in the summer. I think, a couple of players, maybe Donny could be out the door in the summer. Telles, Bailly, Wan-Bissaka out the door in the summer. I think Jurrien Timber, definitely one that could come in. Osimhen, definitely one we'll go for if we can get him. I think we'll look at Vlahovic and Kane. We'll definitely get a big striker. There will be a big striker coming to Man United in summer. United will also be looking at Enzo Fernandez, Frankie de Jong, and even Jude Bellingham, who I don't think we'll get. United want one big striker name. United want one big midfield name. And then United do want to look at centre-back, and that will be Timber. That will be Kim Min-jae. And even potential for United to look at goalkeepers. I think it's going to be a big summer for Manchester United as well. And hopefully we can get the new ownership sorted, but as well. And and Alex makes a good point. He'd rather Kim Min-jae or Bella Kotchap wouldn't have two very small pen spats as a Premier League pair. And I think you make a good point there as well. I do think Kim Min-jae at Napoli, talking to Napoli, he's been absolutely incredible. Guys, let me know your dream January signing in the comments. Like, is there a player that you would just love United to go for in January? And I think Ten Hag could try Lissandro as DM cover for Casemiro. Potentially, if we play Luke Shaw at centre-back, I think potentially with Luke Shaw at left centre-back and Varane at right centre-back, United could potentially try Lisandro Martinez as DM cover. I think that's definitely possible. I think that I don't expect Lisandro Martinez to play DM much at United, but I think if worst comes to worst, he could be there as DM cover. And what Erik ten Hag does like is flexible players. And I think with Lisandro Martinez, one thing you do get is a player that is flexible in the sense of he can play in a variety of positions. Versatile is the word. Why am I saying flexible? I meant versatile, really. That's the best word to describe it. One reason he loves Frankie de Jong is there was a point where he was playing Frankie de Jong at centre-back, Erik ten Hag. Like, that's one of the reasons he loves Frankie de Jong. He loves a good, versatile player. People, please do smash that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alex Talks Football if you're new. We've got lots to talk about. Alex B says we can't play Casemiro 3 times a week for the rest of the season. We need to keep him fit and fresh. Most definitely as well. Vlahovic is a player of interest, and Romano has confirmed that as well. And we're 62 likes away from 200 likes, people. So please do go ahead and smash that like button. Luke Shaw, best centre back in the world, people are saying as well. Luke Shaw has been absolutely incredible. People, let's just talk about Luke Shaw at centre back. He had Haaland in his pocket. He's playing in a back 4, not a back 5, out of position, a position he's not played in a lot. And he absolutely had Luke Shaw in his pocket. He was absolutely fantastic. I think that Luke Shaw has been one of the most underrated players in the league this season. I think he's been. I actually can't believe how good he's been. Centre back, left back, you name it. He's just looks incredible. Now I want to get into this story because I was meant to get into this much earlier in the live stream, and I'm only getting into it now, so I do apologise. But this has come out from Alex Crook. Talk Sport, decent source. He was one of the people that was talking about new ownership very early on before the Glazers announced it. Does have some decent information. And he said that Anthony Elanga could hinge on Man United signing over Man this month. So the title of today's video, or the thumbnail of today's video, is Man United to make another January signing. And there is potential if Elanga goes out on loan. He's obviously been linked to Dortmund and Everton, that United might make a move for one last January signing. Now, I'll be honest, I would be slightly surprised and shocked if we do get another January signing, but I think it's possible if there's someone good on loan, if there's someone available. I think loan moves are very possible, but I would be shocked as well. But he's saying that if we do let Elanga go out on loan, we could sign another wide man this month. The only thing is, although Alex Cook's a decent journalist, I think if we're making it so difficult to sign Weghorst, who else would we sign? Who's that wide man that we'll sign this month? Because we've got Sancho coming back. Pellistri's looking good. Garnacho looks good. We've got Anthony. I don't think wide man. I think I do think we need another attacker because of Martial and his fitness issues. And I think the one thing we're not too bad on is depth on the wings. Like if you've got Anthony and Sancho for right wing and Rashford and Garnacho for left wing and Pellistri, if worse comes to worse, that's fine because I think Sancho will be back soon. The area I'm worried about strikers. So although I like Alex Cook, I think realistically, if United are going to get someone else on loan, I will go for a striker in midfield. I wouldn't potentially be going for that wide man. Are we title contenders if we beat Arsenal on Sunday? I guess to an extent, yes. I think we will technically be title contenders if we beat Arsenal on Tuesday. We'll get a lot closer to them. However, having said that, I don't think we'll be title contenders come April. I think we might be title contenders as of now. We could be title contenders as of now in the league, but I'm very, very, very confident that United will not be title contenders come April. We do need Youri Tielemans. I 100% agree. United have been linked to Youri Tielemans, and I will get into that in a second, actually. I don't think we'll get to Youri Tielemans, but he could be available on a cheap. I know Arsenal are interested in him, and I'm surprised they're not really moving for him as well. But United do have interest in Youri Tielemans, as far as I'm aware as well. Fabrizio Romano did speak about Tielemans and all of that as well. Could United look for Tielemans at a cut price deal? But I'll be honest, does Tielemans start for United? I think he was one point very overrated, and I think now he's potentially a little bit underrated. I will get the Tielemans news up here. I think that he's a good player, but I don't know if he's been poor because Leicester have been poor this season. But there was 2 seasons ago, if someone says Man United would sign Tielemans and Ndidi, I'd have literally creamed all over that move. I would have been like, Tielemans and Ndidi, they're absolutely fantastic players, but Tielemans doesn't move me like he used to. I don't know if that's anyone else, and I don't know if that's because he's just in a poor Leicester side. There's no doubt about his quality. There's no doubt about what he can do. But Maddison's thriving. But Tielemans, I don't think he's been all right this season, but he doesn't move me like he used to. Is it maybe he'll be good next to Casemiro? I'm not sure. I just don't think. I think, of course, if someone said, get Tielemans in a cut price move in January and add depth to you on the field, I'm not going to say no to that. I'm not going to say no to Tielemans coming to United. I think, he's a better player than Scott McTominay. He's 25. He's a good young player. Ten Hag could adapt him. He can play in Eriksen's role. He can give more depth in Eriksen's role. But Fred and Eriksen have been very good. And that's the area that he will be fighting for. I think if we sign a midfielder, we need to sign a genuine backup for Casemiro or genuine backup for Bruno Fernandes. I think, we've got Fred, we've got Eriksen. If we want a midfielder in the Fred and Eriksen role, I feel like we're best off waiting for Frankie de Jong or Enzo Fernandez in summer, where you're getting someone in there that's generally going to improve it. I think if you're signing a midfielder for depth and because he's a decent midfielder, I think, you want DM. Having said that, look, United exploring a cut price move for Youri Tielemans could be very, very cheap. I'm not going to say no to that. I think it would be a good move. I think, if it's a very cheap midfield move, I think it would be a good move. I think Ten Hag would make him good. I think he's a decent player. I think, I would be absolutely happy with that. What 100% happy with that. However, I do not think he doesn't move me like he used to, the player. He's a good player, but he's not like Frankie de Jong. He's not like Enzo Fernandez, if you get what I'm saying as well. And I just think, as this comment says, I do think we need a proper DM. And Tielemans cannot play DM, but Tielemans would be a dream January signing for me. He can back up Bruno, especially with Donny's injury, and it's realistic he'll be a free agent soon. And I do think Tielemans would be a good move. I think that ideally I would go for DM backup, and he can potentially cover Bruno's role as well. So I wouldn't complain about Tielemans whatsoever, but he doesn't move me like he used to, I think, as well. And Tielemans is still good, but we've been awful. Zero blame on Tielemans. And I think that's a fair way to put it. I think if you looked at United last season, Varane was average, Rashford was poor, Sancho was poor, and then you look at Varane and Rashford this season. Luke Shaw's a good player, but he was awful last season. I mean, he's been world-class this season. Varane's a good player, and he was average last season. Rashford's a good player, and he was awful last season. And I think that could be the case with Tielemans. He doesn't look good, but that's because the team doesn't look good. And I think that is probably the best way to put it. And to be fair, I would go for Tielemans over Ruben Neves. And I think with Tielemans' youth, he could be very good at United. I'd also look at Mohamed Kudus, because if you want someone to be a genuine Bruno backup, I think Kudus is the person to do that role as well. And Leicester won't let Tielemans leave because they have to survive in the Premier League. And that is the problem. Like, Leicester will do anything to survive, so they're not going to let Tielemans leave. But Tielemans will want to go. He's got 6 months left on his contract as well. People saying Tielemans are kind of peaked. I don't think Tielemans peaked. I think he's getting dragged down by the team around him. But if Leicester do get relegated, James Maddison on a cut price, people. I tell you what, that is the perfect Bruno Fernandes backup. James Maddison on a cut price if Leicester get relegated. I tell you what, if Leicester or Wolves get relegated, they've got some absolute gems in there. Wolves have got Nunes. I'm not even talking about Neves. I'm talking about Nunes in the midfield. I just took a sip of water and I freaking spilt it on my bloody laptop. So I'm just going to wipe my keyboard and hope that I don't start putting something weird in the chat there. But I tell you what, I know he's not been brilliant at Wolves yet, but I do think that Nunes guy that Wolves scored would be good for United in Ten Hag system as well. I think if there's teams that get relegated, there's some good options. Tielemans, a proper nine like Osimhen, I'm forgetting how to pronounce the name, or Vlahovic, and a good right back to compete with Delo next summer, and we have high chances of becoming title contenders. 100%. You know, the question is, are United title contenders? And I don't think we have the depth to be title contenders. I think that we are technically title contenders as of now, but I don't think we'll be title contenders come into the season. I don't think we have the depth for any of that. But what I will say about Manchester United, what I will say about a title challenge, what I will say about all of that is, next summer, if United get it smart, if United get in a top midfielder in like De Jong, Enzo Fernandez, if United get that top striker in, if United do go and get another maybe defender or fullback in, then 100% United could be title contenders next season. You've seen how much they've improved under Ten Hag in 6-7 months. Imagine how much better they'll be under Ten Hag in a year, especially with that dream midfield signing and that dream striker signing. You know, I generally think Harry Kane, and, you know, Harry Kane's short-term deal like Casemiro, 30, low on his contract, could get him for 40, 50 million. If we can't get Osimhen, and we can't get Vlahovic, and maybe a midfield deal, could win United the title. I really, really do, actually. I do think so. But I think this season we're in a title race as of now, you could say, but I don't think we'll be for long. And Lema off to Bayern seems, but rather mid of pace and energy over Tielemans type. And that's what I was saying. I do like Tielemans, and what I was trying to say is I just don't know. He doesn't move me like other midfielders. I think Tielemans is a good midfielder. I think he's an improvement on McTominay, but he doesn't have that kind of energy that moves me that I think this is perfect for Ten Hag's system. You know, he doesn't move me like Enzo Fernandez or Frankie de Jong. But if it's Tielemans, if we get Tielemans in January, I'll still be absolutely happy. Tielemans in January on a cut price would absolutely be buzzing with that, because I still think we desperately need a midfielder as well. But I do think there's other midfielders I like. I'd like to have seen Iqbal get a chance. I really have liked to have seen Iqbal start that game against Charlton, actually. I was really disappointed. I'd love to see Iqbal start with the first team. I think there's a player in Iqbal that actually, you know, Iqbal's future potential is what this United squad is missing. That kind of movement, that kind of IQ. You know, he's kind of the Frankie de Jong IQ kind of player. And I think Iqbal's going to go out on loan. And I do think, I really was annoyed that, you know, we haven't seen Iqbal play a bit more. I really was annoyed with United in that, because I think there's a top player in Sedan Iqbal. And if Leicester get relegated, would be the biggest low post title win. Yeah, I mean, title win to FA Cup win to relegation all in a few years for Leicester. You know, it's mad. I mean, their title win is, honestly, tell me this now. Name me a bigger football achievement than the Leicester title win. Like, there's never been a moment in my lifetime where there's been a bigger underdog story than the Leicester title win. I mean, I watch football, the big game. Like, I think for me, that's the biggest underdog story, like, because no one would have fought it. And what they did was just absolutely incredible as well. If Southampton get relegated, I look at James Ward-Prowse, a DM and a best free kick taker in the world. I think James Ward-Prowse, you know, would have been fine for United a few years ago, but I think if we want to win titles, James Ward-Prowse, I don't think I think, you know, he's a good mid-table player, but I don't think, and he's an improvement maybe on McTominay, but I don't think James Ward-Prowse wins you titles, if you know what I mean. We have been linked to Martin Subimendi. I forgot how to say his name, but he plays for Real Sociedad. We have been linked to him a bit and about, and I would say keep an eye on that one. Keep an eye on that one in the summer as well. And if Everton get relegated, Onana's good. Should learn from Casemiro. I have to say there could be a big Premier League team get relegated, like an Everton, like a Wolves, like a Leicester, and they've all got some hidden gems there as well. But James Maddison won't be back up for Bruno to start every game. Well, Bruno's been fantastic this season. I think Bruno's incredibly underrated by the fan base, but I do think James Maddison could give him a run for his money, 100%. And for really, Iqbal deserves a chance to prove himself. Iqbal, fantastic player, exactly. And look, and I really like Kobbie Mainoo. As you guys know, I am a big Kobbie Mainoo fan. However, myself, in my opinion, I did think that as good as much as I like Kobbie Mainoo, I would have played Iqbal over him then, just because I think Iqbal's a little level ahead. He's a little bit more advanced as well, and hopefully Sedan Iqbal starts versus Reading. I think that would be a good thing to do. And Alex says sell Martial. Has been underperforming for years now. In the summer, we can potentially sell Martial. I think he links up play. I think he does a job for United. He's the only striker we have. But I think, if we get a massive striker in summer, potentially we can sell Martial. My thought process is get a big striker in summer like Vlahovic and keep Martial as backup in case Vlahovic gets injured. That would be my thought process. And then maybe the following summer, you go and get a better backup striker. Someone I would look at is Moukoko from Borussia Dortmund, 18 striker, free agent. I would be looking at getting him in as a free agent. I'd be looking at signing a big striker like Vlahovic, big name, and then I'd be looking at getting Moukoko in as a free agent on top of midfield and a right back. And then that way you can potentially let someone like Martial go, or maybe United wait another year and go for Benjamin Sesko as well. He's another name that United have been linked with and really like as well. Iqbal and Pellistri definitely deserve a chance. They're two players that are pushing for loan moves that are getting frustrated with lack of minutes, and they're two players that I hope Ten Hag gives a chance to as well. And the only thing that frustrates me about Ten Hag is that I see Elanga getting more chances than Pellistri, and I don't think that's fair. And Alex B says that Kenny Taylor at Ajax reminds me a lot of Frankie de Jong in the making, but he looks like he needs years of development. 100%. I think there's some really good young players out there, but I feel like we need someone that's ready to play now, and then you can also get someone that's ready to play for the future as well. We're talking about underdog stories. Greece 2004 Euros. United 1999 wasn't an underdog story, but it's a fantastic story. Blackburn title win. I still think Leicester title win. In my opinion, nothing as an underdog story beats the Leicester thing. Any news on owners, people? That is what we're going to get into. One sec. The Manchester United new owner situation. So not much has come out on new ownership. I will do a video on it actually, maybe tomorrow. I will give you a little update on it. It's more the kind of news that's come out is basically there's a deadline that's been set. And that is if you want Man United, you've got to get your bid in by mid-February, and that's your last chance. And once the bids are in, they're going to close it, and it will probably go to the highest bidder mid-February. And then they want to get the sale sorted by April. Now, there's a chance that they could give it to an investor, and it's not a bid for the full sale. Qatar and Saudi Arabia are looking to be investors. That wouldn't be a full sale. That would keep the Glazers in charge. Dubai looking for full sale. Ratcliffe's trying to build a consortium for the full sale. There's people in America looking at the full sale. People who are in for Chelsea looking at the full sale. I think with United, it's America, it's Dubai, or it's a partial sale. We've probably got to hope it's Dubai because American owners just don't seem to be good. Amazon potentially could show an interest. And I think, next month they will close the bids. Everyone that's interested in United's got a month to put a bid in. We'll probably hear stories about bids soon. I think there will be updates soon. They'll close the bids. And then I think come end of February, early March, I think we'll be hearing a lot of stories. I'm going to say this now, a lot of stories on this, because the rumour is that United want to get this done by April 1st. So the bidding will close mid-February. So between mid-February and April 1st, I think we'll have strong indications of the direction that it's going. And I do think there'll be a lot of news on new ownership coming very, very soon. Sign Kalinoglu. We were apparently going to sign. I swear I read an article like 2 years ago that we're on the verge of signing him, and then just never happened, didn't it? What's happened to Charlie Savage? He looked good in pre-season, seems to be forgot about. I just don't think he's the same level of Iqbal in that. I think he needs to loan. I think he's a good young player, but he didn't give me that kind of level. And yeah, Moukoko on a free would be perfect. Apparently, he's 22. There's a rumor going out there that Mokoko's faked his age and he's actually 22, people. So I'm not sure about that. I'm hoping he's 18 because if he's 22, the sign doesn't hit the same. As he does look a bit older than 18, to be fair to him. But I don't know. And the reason Moukoko could be 22 and not 18 is because I think he was adopted or something. And they can lie about the age and it's not always his fault. And all that, which could describe why he just seems to be a level above everyone else. But I don't know if that story is real or not. But there are stories that he's not 18. and he's actually 22. But I think that's just a rumor going about. But no one really knows 100% as well. Tielemans is the way to go. People saying Ruben Neves. Let me know in the midfield let me know in the chat what midfield signing you would like. People saying Leicester won't let Tielemans go. Would like Sesko. Sesko looks very good, doesn't he? Right, I do want to get into some more transfer news because I've done a bit of Q&A in the chat and we haven't got into loads of transfer news. But many clubs do want to sign for Kunde Palestri, but Romano said that United would like Palestri to stay. Fabrizio Romano went on the United stand today and said that Ten Hag wants Rashford to stay at United at all costs and contract talks are ongoing. Fabrizio Romano went on the United stand today and said that Ten Hag loves Juri and Timber. Fabrizio Romano went on the United stand today and also spoke about how we're very interested in Victor Osimhen. But Fabrizio Romano also spoke about Elanga's future and said several teams are interested in Elanga. And it was said new, Dortmund want to sign Elanga. Everton and Bournemouth have also inquired about him. The prospect of a move to the Bundesliga is likely to be an attractive option for Elanga. And Elanga could potentially be pushing for a move to Dortmund, which could open up space for United to bring in another player. And Romano has confirmed Dortmund's interest in Anthony Elanga. So that is confirmed that Dortmund are interested in Anthony Elanga, which could offer up some things as well. Regarding new contracts that United are looking to give Rashford a new contract, De Gea a new contract, Dalot, Shaw and Fred all new contracts as Ten Hag is really liking them at the club. And that United want to discuss a potential new contract for Kunde Palestri as well. And Romano is confirming that Ten Hag does like Palestri, so hopefully we see more of him as well. Maybe it's on a free, not bothered about the age. 22 isn't old. 100%. For me, I'd like us to sign a top striker than Moukoko on a free. I think that would be good business by United. Also, yeah, Gaz makes a good point. I saw this actually. United ladies thrashed Liverpool 6-0, so big up the women's team. I'll tell you what a weekend. Liverpool lose 3-0 to Brighton, and then their women's team loses 6-0 to United, whilst we beat Man City in the derby. I mean, what a weekend it was for football, people. What a weekend as well. And Tielemans as McTominay replacement would be smart. Thanks, Alex, for the super chat. News on Martial injury, Casemiro, Rashford. Okay, Casemiro and Rashford got knocks versus Crystal Palace, but it doesn't seem that they will be out, or it doesn't seem that there'll be anything particularly long term. Just a blow, just a bruise. Ten Hag was saying nothing too serious. Martial's not 100% fit. I think you could tell by the way he was playing. You know, I looked at Martial and he was just jogging around. Like, you could just tell by the way he's playing. He wasn't 100% fit either. So, yeah, I think Martial, I think he's just getting not got to be careful with that. But I think it's nothing serious. I think Donny is the only real serious injury at United. We've got 212 likes, guys. The goal was 300 likes. We've got 600 people watching. Only 1 out of 3 of you watching have hit that like button. So do hit that like button if you haven't already. If your glaze is out, hit the like button because I want to hit 300 likes as well. Someone said De Gea's distribution was terrible. It wasn't the best, but I do think De Gea gets way too much stick from this fan base. Like, he's not perfect, but I feel like there's a massive agenda in this fan base against De Gea as well. And should put 10 million into nutrition at Old Trafford and Carrington and sign another midfielder. I think you 100% need to sign another midfielder as well. Let's get into some more stories, people. Lots and lots to talk about as well. I don't know if you watched my video earlier today, but it's about just how Ten Hag is changing the United squad and doing lots and lots, and just the crazy difference Erik Ten Hag is making to the squad, the leaders. And reportedly, Erik Ten Hag kind of treats Casemiro like his leaders. You know, when Erik Ten Hag makes changes in game, he's talking to Casemiro. Everything on the pitch goes through Casemiro. He's talking about instructions with Casemiro as well. Apparently, Arsenal are interested in Declan Rice for 80 million, who's also been linked to United. But I think with Casemiro, we wouldn't be spending 80 million on someone in his exact same position. Maybe to replace Casemiro, but I don't believe the rumours in for Declan Rice. But Erik Ten Hag has a particular liking for Ten Hag that he's using Erik Ten Hag has a particular liking for Casemiro, that when he wants to change things in game, he's talking to Casemiro. When he has a tactical change in game, he's talking to Casemiro as well. Romano did speak about Rabiot being open to move to the Premier League, but I don't think it will be United. I don't think Rabiot would be a bad signing now on top of Casemiro, but I don't think Rabiot will be going to United. I think when he was only interested in a fat wage packet, I think that put Ten Hag off. I think the mentality did as well. And also, both Casemiro and Fred have been shown 4 bookings this season. Another caution midweek would be they're suspended for Arsenal. So we do not want Casemiro out of the Arsenal game. So I think United might take the risk and maybe rest Casemiro against Palace so he's not injured for Arsenal as well. But I have to say, United ladies beating Liverpool ladies was also very good as well. Todd Bowie, I've seen some people talking about Todd Bowie in the chat. I tell you what, this is the thing about American owners. Todd Boehly is spending money after money after money. Todd Boehly's just got way too much money, like 100 million on Mudryk. João Felix, crazy wages. I mean, stealing all the Arsenal targets. I won't lie, you've just got to love how Todd Boehly is stealing all the players Arsenal love. It is funny, but Chelsea completely neglecting their midfield. Chelsea need someone to go into that midfield, completely neglecting it. And guess what? You know, they go and sign and spend 100 million on 2 attackers when they've already got Nkunku coming in the summer and a load of attackers. Todd Boehly is one of those guys where, yeah, you've got a lot of money, Todd Boehly, but I don't think he uses his brains. I don't think he's using his brains one little bit. You've got a bit of money, Todd Boehly, but, you know, where are you using your brain? You're putting money on this, you're putting money on that, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I think, you know, we obviously talking of new owners, we could get new rich American owners, but it's not also about the money, it's about how they plan on spending it. You know, look at Brighton. They haven't got loads of money, but look how well managed they are. We want a new owner with a lot of money, but manages us like Man City's been managed by their owners, like Brighton's been managed by their owners, in the sense of it's not just about how much money your owners have, it's about what they do with it. And I think Todd Boehly, he probably will learn from his mistakes and figure out, but he's splashing cash left, right, and centre. You know, United under Woodward outspent everyone. Under Ed Woodward, people forget this. Manchester United outspent everyone. We outspent Man City under Ed Woodward, and we spent a lot of money, but because you didn't have smart people making transfer decisions with a clear plan, with a clear philosophy, United was spending all this money left, right, and centre on this player, and that player, and it wasn't working out. And I think that's what's happening at Chelsea at the moment. I'd not go for De Jong. We don't need him. We desperately need De Jong, but I wouldn't go for him if he doesn't want to come as well. And Todd Boehly is doing the FIFA at Chelsea, isn't he, as well? And Chelsea coming to New United during the Fergie years, they're going to have problems years to come. If they don't sort out their transfer strategy soon, and the difference between Boehly and the Glazers is they're both spending money irrationally, but Boehly's doing it because he cares, whereas the Glazers were doing it because they're incompetent. So I think Boehly will learn from his mistakes sooner rather than later. But yeah, if Chelsea aren't called up on hundreds of millions spent in 2 windows, then we have nothing to worry about with those FFP regulations. Yeah, Chelsea surely they're going to go off FFP, which could give us an advantage for other players in the summer. With the amount of money they've spent, you know, if we're battling out with Chelsea for De Jong or Enzo Fernandez, and Chelsea might have to sell players because of FFP regulations. You never know as well. But look, people, I want to thank everybody for watching today's live. Oh wow. That is blurry. We'll go back to this because my screen is blurring up. But look, people, I did want to thank everyone for watching today's live stream. Please do smash a like on the way out. And, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. By the way, I do have a video coming out tomorrow morning. So if you're not subscribed, do subscribe for tomorrow's morning's video. And then there will be a video tomorrow evening. So lots of content to come on the channel. So smash a like, smash the subscribe. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you next time, and bye.